President Trump doubling down on his criticism of NFL national anthem protesters by defending the military and the flag and the anthem and those who keep us safe. All while the Democrats, the liberal mainstream, destroy Trump media, they do what they always do. What are they doing? Making this about race when it's not. And that is tonight's very important breaking news opening monologue. So first tonight, I want to take a few moments, and I want to thank all of you for your support and your loyalty. Last night, you did make this show #1 in cable by far. You know, there's a lot of people in the mainstream media on the left. They want the voice of this show silenced. They want your voices silenced. And by the way, there are even efforts this very day to silence and boycott, and they want to get me fired. This threat is very real. Here's the sad truth. If you're a conservative and have a conservative worldview, well, people in the media today, guess what? There are people that are paid a lot of money. It's well-funded to sit and watch every single second, minute of every single day in the hopes that I say one word, one phrase, one sentence that they deem politically incorrect, and then they can use it to get me fired. Now, with that said, every night, I made a promise last night to you, we will not stop on this program till my dying breath, as long as they'll have me, to give you news and strong opinion and information you won't get anywhere else. We do hope that you and your friends, you'll tell your friends to join us every single night. We hope you'll set your DVR. Again, I thank you. And now, tonight's top story. President Trump, he's refusing to back down. He is now calling out the NFL, national anthem protesters who are disrespecting the flag, the military, and our country. Here's what the president said earlier today in the Rose Garden.
I was at Walter Reed Hospital recently, and I saw so many great young people, and they're missing legs, and they're missing arms, and they've been so badly injured. And they were fighting for our country. They were fighting for our flag. They were fighting for our national anthem. And for people to disrespect that by kneeling during the playing of our national anthem, I think is disgraceful. I think it's a very important thing for the NFL to not allow people to kneel during the playing of our national anthem, to respect our country and to respect our flag.
Now, the president's dead on when it comes to this kneeling issue. The national anthem, the flag, it's about saluting, honoring our military. Remember, it was written after the Battle of Fort McHenry. And for all the president's critics out there, oh, he shouldn't talk about this, he was right to call attention to this issue. So all these NFL players, coaches, owners, the ones that are kneeling because of apparent social injustice or to protest the president himself or to raise awareness for whatever other leftist issues they may be promoting, well, I'd make the argument they're completely uninformed. If they are about inclusion and unity and understanding, then why don't they sit down with the brave men and women who fought and bled for this country? Maybe they should learn why every American should proudly stand for the flag, for the Star-Spangled Banner. Why don't they talk to the mothers and fathers? I've interviewed them who lost their sons and daughters. Or why don't they talk to those who had their limbs blown off fighting for this country? I'm pretty sure they'd be happy to explain why people should, in fact, stand. This is about respect. This is about respect for the military, for our country, for our flag, and those who fought under that flag. It's plain and simple, which is why these acts of protest are beyond disrespectful. Now, if some NFL players, coaches, owners, you want to keep doing it, you go for it. But here's my prediction. People are going to continue to change the channel, and they'll stay home on football Sunday. And like I said last night, Saturday is now my official football day unless and until this is resolved. And according to the Wall Street Journal, DirecTV is now letting at least some customers cancel subscriptions to its Sunday ticket package of NFL games and obtain refunds if they cite players' national anthem protests as the reason. Also, look what's happening around the country. Look at this. People who spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on NFL memorabilia, they're burning their jerseys. They were the once prized possessions and treasures. They are that upset. Now, while President Trump is defending the flag, the military, Republicans like Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who will be on this show tomorrow night, are coming out and they are supporting the president. Let's take a look.
People are clearly within their rights to express themselves how they see fit. My own view, though, is we shouldn't do it on the anthem. The national anthem, our flag, and the people who defend it and represent it, that should be celebrated everywhere and always, and that's my opinion.
And the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, he's also backing the president. Watch what he said.
President of the United States has free speech. He believes, and I believe, that people should take a moment before a football game and stand when the national anthem is played. What's wrong with that? It's not political. It's not an affirmation of Trump or Hillary Clinton or any other agenda. It's simply an affirmation, respect for the United States of America and this great heritage of freedom, and for these football players, prosperity that they have. So I think that's a perfectly appropriate thing for the president to say.
So taking a knee or staying in the locker room during the national anthem, you know what? That's pretty easy to do. Addressing real problems that impact real people and doing something about that is a lot harder. Let's start by helping the people we always talk about, the millions of forgotten men and women in this country. 50 million Americans in poverty, 50 million on food stamps, 90+ million Americans out of the labor force. If the NFL, you want to continue to disrespect the country, the military, well, that's given players, by the way, and owners the opportunity to make millions and even in some cases billions of dollars, then it's time to stop taking handouts from the American taxpayers. I doubt you'll hear this elsewhere in the media. Let's look at the numbers. The average public subsidy for an NFL stadium is $266 million taxpayer dollars. Since the year 2000, it is estimated $3.2 billion in federal taxpayer money has gone to help build private sports stadiums. Then you factor in local and state funding for stadiums, well, that number grows to $5.9 billion and $6.7 billion. That's over just the last 20 years. And if that's not shocking enough, well, there's the NFL's paid patriotism scandal. There was a Senate report. It found that from the years 2012 to 2015, the Department of Defense, they actually paid the NFL $6.1 million to honor troops and for recruiting promotions. Now, the league did pay back $700,000 of that, but only after coming under intense criticism. What about the rest of the money? Now, those numbers are astounding. Now, if some in the NFL, they don't want to stand, you don't want to honor the flag, the country, the military, then stop taking all the money from the American people. Because let's be honest, you know what? They don't need it in the NFL. Now, while this national anthem issue is clearly about respecting the military, the country, our flag, well, the Democrats, members of the mainstream, left-wing, establishment, ideological media, predictably are trying to make this all about race. This is what they always do. It's part of their playbook. I pointed out so many times on this program, every 2 years, every 4 years, the Democratic Party plays the race card, creating division and causing unrest in the country. And I played those spots and sots over and over again. And now Democrats are doing the same thing with the national anthem protests. They're also using this opportunity to attack President Trump. Watch this from just two prominent Democrats. Take a look.
He went down to the heart of Dixie in Alabama before an all-white or mostly white crowd, the good old boys, so to speak, and he engaged in what many of us, I think, can fairly call race baiting. The President of the United States chose to pull the sheets off and reveal himself in terms of his tendency to be a racial arsonist.
It's quite telling that he is willing to attack black athletes. He never says anything of an insulting manner toward white supremacists or neo-Nazis or Ku Klux Klanners or Vladimir Putin, right?
And of course, the Destroy Trump establishment media, they're not far behind in echoing everything the Democrats say, all of their talking points. Take a look.
If anyone actually believes this is about the flag, then you must believe Rosa Parks' protest was about a bus.
I think is playing along with white identity politics and sort of white grievance politics, right?
We've heard this language before from white people in the Deep South referring to African Americans and especially black athletes who they feel is taking their place. And so this wasn't a dog whistle. This was a bullhorn.
But clearly it's ethnic. Do you think it is?
I think that there's...
Does he pick his ethnic enemies?
He has walked into a fight that was about race, and he knew it was about race, and there's no way you could call it anything else.
So let me say it. I want to help him out. He's a racist. Okay? He came proverbially as close as you could possibly come to shouting in a rally the N-word. That's what he did down there.
Fake news, conspiracy news, and the left is in a total frenzy over this, and they're desperately trying to score as many cheap political points as possible. Democratic lawmakers, Maxine Waters, Al Green, they're actually calling for President Trump's impeachment over his NFL comments. Really? Watch this insanity.
He started dog whistling to that constituency during the campaign and started his division. And don't forget, Bannon said, when it's about race, we win because they frighten people. They play into racism. I hope people understand it's about all of this that he should not be the president of the United States of America. And we got to get ready for impeachment.
Mr. Speaker, I denounce the comments that were made, and I rise to announce that on next week, Mr. Speaker, I will bring a privileged resolution before the Congress of the United States of America. I will stand here in the well of the Congress, and I will call for the impeachment of the President of the United States of America.
So pathetic, so predictable. Two Democrats, they even took a knee on the House floor as a show of solidarity with the NFL protesters. Let's watch this.
You tell me which of those children's mothers are a son of a bee. That is racism. You cannot deny it. You cannot run for it. And I kneel in honor of them. I kneel.
So I join so many now in the NFL and elsewhere in taking a knee for the America that we all aspire it to be.
So the Democrats' fake moral outrage, it knows no bounds. They will literally do and say anything to try and damage and delegitimize President Trump. They've been doing that since last November, and that includes playing the race card every single chance they get. Now, even though President Trump has explicitly said that his criticism of the NFL has nothing to do with race, it's about patriotism. And it should be obvious to everyone, except, of course, those that want to play the race card like they do every 2 and 4 years. President Trump never mentioned race when he called out the NFL because it has nothing to do with race. And since Democrats, they're claiming President Trump is trying to create a racial divide in this country, well, we have to ask, where was the outrage when President Obama was jumping to conclusions without any facts or information, high-profile race cases in this country, and saying outrageous things that did have an impact on the public? You may remember this.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly. There is a long history in this country of African Americans and Latinos being stopped by law enforcement disproportionately. That's just a fact. When Trayvon Martin was first shot, I said that this could have been my son. Another way of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me 35 years ago. And we have to close the justice gap. How justice is applied, but also how it is perceived, how it is experienced. That's what we saw in Ferguson this summer when Michael Brown was killed and the community was divided. Stains the heart of black children who feel as if no matter what he does, he'll always be under suspicion.
Rush judgments, rushing to judgment, no evidence, no belief that somebody's innocent until they're proven guilty. And we can go back even further to Barack Obama's book, Dreams of My Father. The media never pointed it out. We did, where he quoted the Reverend from the Church of GD America, Jeremiah Wright. Listen to, well, then candidate Obama saying this.
It is this world, a world where cruise ships throw away more food in a day than most residents of Port-au-Prince see in a year. Where white folks' greed runs a world in need, apartheid in one hemisphere, apathy in another hemisphere.
These are things you'll never hear and see from members of the mainstream media because, you know what, they're so abusively biased and corrupt. But by the way, they want to silence shows like this, and they work hard at it. For example, where was the left rushing to condemn those comments? He wasn't a candidate, but he was in politics. They didn't do it because playing the race card, dividing the country along racial lines, is how Democrats think they need to win and get votes. You know what? They just do whatever they want. They're never going to change, sadly, because it's not good for the country. But people, I think, now are onto their game. It's getting old. It's pretty disgusting. So tonight we have a challenge for the left. Instead of you trying to take down President Trump 24/7, 365, exploiting this NFL issue, why don't you stand up for things that matter, our country, our flag, our brave men and women who fight and bleed and die for all of our freedoms?